I think you can handle this one, Joe. I didn't have fun.
You didn't have fun?
I was crying all the time because masters are so
Really?
tough. Economics, yeah.
The fun parts of Cambridge.
Is on your YouTube channel.
Is on my YouTube channel. The fun parts.
I want to say good evening to Joe Binder and Ola. How you guys doing?
Good.
Yeah, good thanks, yeah.
Don't need to, I'm taking these off. They look stupid. They're off now.
We're going to call this the Cambridge experience. So you guys both went to Cambridge. So Joe, let's start what year did you actually start in Cambridge?
I think 2014, and I'm graduating in a couple of weeks.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Ola, what about you?
I started in 2010 and I left in 2012. Well, I actually left in 2011, but I came back for a few exams. There's a story around there. So I graduated in 2012 in the end.
So is it like different campuses on Cambridge? Like educate me on what the names of the campuses
Yeah.
are.
So it works in a collegiate structure, the same as Oxford. So I think we have 31 different colleges,
Yeah.
some of which are mature, like Wolfson,
Yeah.
or like female only. And within that, you have your own kind of hub. It's like a university within itself. And outside of that, you have the wider Cambridge.
So yeah, think of it this way. Imagine, as Jojo said, it's a collegiate system, but literally within that college, that's where you live, that's where you have your seminar classes, that's where you socialize the most. That it's a campus within a campus, each college, and therefore, so you have your own library, you have your own dining halls. So it's almost like a collaboration of 31 plus different universities all in one. So that's how it kind of works.
Before we started filming, and to do this impromptu, the Cambridge experience, you was telling me a bit about how you worked your way up from like in primary school. Like, give us a little bit about that story that you shared with us.
Yeah, so I think it was in year 7 in secondary school, I kind of messed around a bit, kind of had fun in lessons, and in year 8 I was put into bottom sets. And that was when I realised that if I wanted to I wasn't happy with the work that I was being given. I was complaining to the head of year and my teacher saying that I wanted to be given more challenging work, and their response was, you need to show us you can do that, you need to show us you're capable, you need to work your way up. So for the next 3, 4, 5 years, I was constantly asking for extra work, trying to move up to different sets to be challenged more. And so the idea of going to Cambridge was just absolutely absurd. It was always well away from my comfort zone. Nobody really expected me to even think about it. So yeah.
How was it for you then?
Mine was a little bit different. So I always kind of knew about Oxford and Cambridge. It was an ambition of my parents, I guess, for one of us or all of us to go to Cambridge, especially because my granddad went to both. So, and he became a professor and all that kind of stuff. So we always kind of knew about it, but mine was a case of I started in top sets, and then by A-levels I was messing around. Wasn't really interested. So I then flopped my A-levels, which meant Cambridge was out of the picture. Went to a different uni for my undergrad, and because I did well there, I was then able to apply later on to Cambridge for a master's.
What's Cambridge really like? You know, what are the types of fun things that people do on Cambridge? What's the Cambridge experience when you're having fun?
I think you can handle this one, Joe. I didn't have fun.
You didn't have fun?
I was crying all the time because masters are so
Really?
tough. Economics, yeah.
The fun parts of Cambridge.
Is on your YouTube channel.
Is on my YouTube channel. The fun parts. It's difficult. I think the best part about Cambridge is the people that you're surrounded by, like constantly. I think I remember first term, first year was one of the most horrific things ever, because you're just like flooded with work and emails and responsibilities, and you're in a new place, in a new setting, you don't know anybody. And so within that first term, the friends that you make kind of, I don't know, I think the bonds that you create are so deep there because you're in like a really difficult position, everybody else is, and the second you speak to people about that, you immediately forge this relationship and become so much closer because everything's so difficult and you need to seek comfort and help from one another. And I think one of the best things about Cambridge is that those friends are usually super ambitious. They've had to like work their ass off to get there, and they're super hard working, and within that, I think it's just great to be surrounded by those kind of like-minded people. I think that's probably one of the highlights, and I guess fun can stem from that when you're on nights out or playing board games if you don't like, do you know what I mean, like whatever. I don't know, I think fun is subjective, but you can definitely have it at Cambridge to some degree.
Okay, so let me pull up on that. So On average, Friday night, what would we be seeing Joe doing?
I wouldn't go out on Fridays. I'd go out on Saturday. No, I wouldn't. I would go out on Wednesdays, Wednesday Cindy's, and Sundays. Those are two of the big nights.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ola, what about you?
What was
Tell us. Please don't tell us you was a square.
No, I wasn't completely square. Like, I think Joe touched on a good point about the people. Like, it's such a international hub, Cambridge. So I had people, like, I met a lot of people from like Pakistan, India, Greek. I ended up going to Greece, over to Greece to see one of my friends on my course. Went and holidayed out there with him. That's a different story. But in terms of the fun part, I did different things because I already had my fun during my undergrad at Kent. Cambridge was a bit more of a completely different experience in terms of what I went there for. But I tried to do things that I wouldn't have had the opportunity to do in the past or in the future. So one of them being at my college, they offered salsa classes. I took up salsa. My college also offered language courses, so I took up Japanese. Go figure. So
Wait, can you speak Japanese?
no anymore. Between my degree and going to language courses, yeah, like literally no time. So I hardly ever studied. So I left the course after like 2 terms, like the language class after like 2 terms. So it was good fun. You used to go out and dine and try and order in Japanese and do all that kind of funky stuff. So that for me was more of my highlight. And then sometimes, yeah, you go to a club.
What's the nightlife like over there?
Depends on the night and what you're looking for. It's not great though.
Terrible. It's the worst thing you'll ever do. Do not go out clubbing in Cambridge. It is the worst. Unless you plan on going with like a close group of friends and getting absolutely mashed up. That's like my only advice.
Numb yourself to the experience.
Yeah. I'm telling you, one of the clubs, there's something about them not having the right license. They can only play one song for like 45 seconds, something like that. This is Cindy's or Bolora, yeah. So it's something like that. And so every single time you go there, you have the same songs. So you have Mr. Brightside, like Shit from the Lion King will come on. Everything is the same songs, and it's just like there's only so many times you can do it. And being in 3rd year now, I'm just so done with it. Yeah, I'm just it's just terrible.
Probably know it word for word now.
Yeah, maybe you can attest me.
So when you get I didn't go to Cambridge, I went to London Met. But we all hear Cambridge is prestigious, it's like one of the top unis in the world. When you guys were both there, did you feel like, yeah, I'm a big fish in a small pond, a small fish in a big pond? How did you?
For me, it was definitely the latter. Small fish in a big pond. Like, you suddenly get exposed to all these like bright minds and brilliant people from different walks of life. So in my course, because it was a master's, a lot of people that are mature.
So let's reiterate. You did a master's in finance.
I did a master's in economics.
Right.
So I was a 23-year-old in class with sometimes 30-year-olds. Like, I had people that come from like a chemistry background doing economics, but they were super smart. They've come from Australia, they've come from South Americas, they've had like this crazy work experience, work like top institutions around the world, and like you're suddenly chucked into this experience and environment with them. You do start feeling like, yeah, you're not that smart, mate. Pretty much, very quickly.
How about for you, Joe? How was it?
Well, I actually had like a massive inferiority complex about my college. This is something I haven't actually spoken to many people about, or even on my channel at all, I don't think. But so Fitz is it's a fairly new college. I think it was built in the 1950s, something like that. But compared to your typical Cambridge, it's completely different. Like, when you talk about Cambridge, you imagine these like huge, amazing old buildings, the stuff you see in movies, on the postcards. Yeah. But that only really kind of correlates around 15 out of 31 colleges. And so Fitz isn't part of that. And so I would just, a lot of the time I'd feel as if when I was cycling away from lectures back to college, I'd feel as if I was cycling away from the real Cambridge and back to something that just was like, I don't know,
added on, stuck on.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I felt like that for quite a long time, and even now to some degree, even though the standards of education are the same, and like Fitz had the most amazing group of people there ever. Like, nobody was pretentious. You could speak to everybody. I always felt as if I wasn't
the bottom.
Yeah, exactly.
I had that as well because my college was built in the 60s. I actually tried to orchestrate a move from my college because of this.
Really?
Same feeling, yeah. They offered me Selwyn, which is a little bit more up there, but it's not top ranking. Yeah. It's not top ranking. So I refused it. Because I was like, I wanted to get into like the prestigious ones, like
What are the prestigious ones?
so they're called like St. John's, Trinity, King's, Emmanuel,
Keys.
yeah,
Any of the central colleges, really.
yeah,
The ones which were built hundreds of years ago.
mainly in the town centre, around the town centre.
Because those are kind of like, that's what you think of when you think of Cambridge. You think of those buildings and those professors. And even when I would walk through John's on like the historic Bridge of Sighs or whatever, it just feels like I don't know, for me, I felt something different. I was like, wow, this is a real deal.
This is where I'm supposed to be.
Yeah, this is where I'm supposed to be. I thought, I'm part of this, and just imagine what it would have been like if I would wake up in these buildings and have to walk through them to lectures every single day. That would be incredible. And I never had that. And I know, I'm fully aware how ridiculous this sounds right now. Like, still went to Cambridge, still had that education, still have that branding on my CV and everything. That was just something that kind of got to me.
Do you know what's interesting hearing you guys both say this is that externally, we'll just say Cambridge.
Yeah.
One thing. Internally,
Very
there's
different.
levels, there's hierarchies, there's a hierarchical structure. And it's almost funny that you guys have done amazingly well to get into Cambridge individually, but then within there's almost like a pecking order. Where it's like,
Yeah, exactly.
It is. It's like the military. So it's almost like you have the generals, the majors, the colonels, and then you have the captains and the sergeants. So that's how it kind of felt. And apart from that, and you also pick up on those vibes. It's all part of the social construct of the place. So you can very quickly pick up an inferiority complex, not even just because of the college that you're at, but also because of your level of affluence. So Cambridge is a very affluent city. You have a lot of rich and well-to-do people that come there to study. So again, there's almost that internal conflict or competition. I don't know what it is, but that just can make you feel inadequate if you're not grounded in yourself or you're confident in yourself.